Hi guys, this is Evie, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to deal with ADHD or ADD without medication. And the most important first step is your mindset. So you have to understand that ADHD is something that you cannot completely cure. So you have two options. You're going to take medication to reduce the symptoms, or you're not gonna take the medication and you're gonna learn coping mechanisms to deal with the symptoms. And this is exactly what one of my psychiatrists told me. She said, every single morning you wake up, you have a choice. Take the pill or have the symptoms. And I choose to have the symptoms on 90% of my days, and I'm gonna tell you in this video how I deal with that. By all means, cognitive behavioral therapy or coaching is probably the best thing you can do. However, let's say you cannot afford this, so I'm gonna briefly try to give you the main points about it. And the first thing is that you have to learn to forgive yourself for your symptoms. Your symptoms are not gonna go anywhere, and you criticizing yourself about it is only gonna make you feel worse, and this is not gonna motivate you to do anything good, and it's not gonna at all help you. So stop criticizing yourself for having symptoms. So the second point, learn to do small steps at a time. In this video, I'm gonna give you 10 tips. Do not try them all at once. Take one little thing, implement it, keep it there for a couple of weeks, months even, before you add the other one. It's very important to keep it realistic because you are trying to build self-trust. You're trying to show to yourself you are able to deal with ADHD without medication. You're not gonna be able to do that if you put everything all at once, fail at 90% of it, and just feel terrible and disappointed and demotivated. So take it one little step at a time, adjust as you go, give yourself feedback, encourage yourself, be kind to yourself, and keep going. And at some point it's gonna become a habit, and the routine is gonna help you continue doing the behaviors. However, just really keep in mind the symptoms will always be there. It just, that's who you are. Become a friend with your brain and work together with it so that you can improve your quality of life and also how you feel about yourself. Another very particular tip is work with your symptoms. For example, let's say again, you're always forgetting where you left your keys. Okay, I always leave my keys at the same spot every single time because I know otherwise I'm gonna forget. Have reminders, have little notes around, have anything that will help you. The fact that you are forgetting, instead of telling yourself, I have to learn to be more focused, I have to change how I am. Well, accept this is how you are and see how those little devices and everything around you can actually help you to be who you are and be more efficient and happier and satisfied with your life. Now let's get into the tips. Tip number one is sleep. I know you've probably heard this before, but I swear this is probably the most important thing. Going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time consistently does improve your focus. For me, it takes 2 months. Like, I need to be on a schedule for 2 months before I can really see a noticeable change in my attention. Second thing, your brain needs to wander. This is a fundamental rule, like just accept it. Your brain needs it, and there are two options. Your brain is gonna take its time to wander, daydream, be distracted, think about why cucumbers are green or not. Or you're gonna have to schedule this, and your brain is gonna know this wander time is coming, and because it's coming, I can focus now, and I'm kind of like more motivated to focus now because I know this is coming. This is kind of like a relationship you build with your brain, and you're basically really trying to keep that relationship real, which means every single time when your brain manages to focus and get the task done, reward it. You are building trust and loving long-term relationship. Look at it that way, it's gonna help. My way to do this wandering time is through exercise. If I'm doing cardio workout, I'm allowing my brain to go nuts. I don't care what it wants to think about, how crazy it is, how much of a fantasy world it builds. It's fun. So when I'm working and I know, hey, at 4 p.m. I'm gonna go work out and this is gonna be my wander time, I kind of look forward to the gym first of all because I really want to get distracted. Like, I love being distracted, and it's a struggle not to be distracted, you know. So I first create a good association with working out that way, and second, because my brain knows it is a routine, it will come for sure, it focuses easier. Your way could be something else, of course. Just keep in mind that you need something that you do without focus. It could be playing an instrument, riding a bike, walking, even playing a video game. If it's a game that you already know how to play very well, the point is to do something that actually disconnects you and puts you in wonderland. And this is the healthiest distraction you can actually have. My third thing is kind of weird, and it's energy drinks. I know that supposedly having a lot of sugar and caffeine is actually increasing your symptoms. I barely have any sugar in my life, even my energy drinks are sugar-free. However, I find that if I have an energy drink, it kind of helps me sit still. Like if I have to work on my feet and do something with my hands, yes, it energizes me. But if I have to sit down with a computer and I have an energy drink, it helps me stick to a subject. It actually makes me more grounded and stable. I don't know why, but it does work. It might work for you as well. 4, accept that you will always get bored easily. This is how you are. Most of us who have ADHD have low dopamine, and we need excitement. We need to do something that energizes us not only but entertains us. We need to be challenged, and we need something that is making us active mentally, because we have all this mental energy. Our thousands of thoughts are all the time over the place, and we love the challenge, and we love the change, and we love to do something kind of different. That's why so many of us are having problems with routines, because we see it as the most boring thing on earth. And you have to understand this and accept it and provide it for yourself, or else everything else is gonna fail. Because if you do not feed your brain stimulation, it's not gonna listen to you for anything else, because it wants its playtime again, and it wants its challenge. But the topic of the relation between ADHD and dopamine is kind of huge, so leave me a comment if you want me to make a video only about that, where I can go further into detail. Right now, I'm just gonna say that many people benefit from having something to do while they're working. It could be just music, it could be playing an instrument, it could be something to like play with their hands, but a lot of ADHD people need to be doing 2 things at a time, or at least one thing that is less focused but it's kind of like more entertaining, and the other one that is the actual focus, and this helps them tremendously. 5th is exercise, and you may have heard this already, but let me explain to you why this is so important for your ADHD brain. So you have this cerebellum, which is right here, and the cerebellum contains 70% of our neurons, and those neurons in your cerebellum connect to your prefrontal cortex, where all the magic of thinking, planning, time management happens. So for your ADHD brain, the health of your prefrontal cortex is very important. Cerebellum connects to this guy, so if you try to control this guy, or if you try to put it into some balance, this guy is gonna be better. And how do you put your cerebellum into some balance? Actually, it's not just random exercise, but it's exercise that requires you to balance. Which actually leads me to point number 6, which is meditation. Don't roll your eyes if you're not into meditation. I know that it sounds like, oh my gosh, I don't want to hear about this again. But keep in mind that focus is a skill. And if you, for example, every morning manage to focus for 5 minutes during a meditation, 5 minutes, you first of all show yourself it's possible, I can focus. And second of all, you're training that skill to be present, to be right here and right now. And because you're training that skill, you can use it at any other time of your day. Sometimes I have it in my coaching sessions, for example. Like people are talking to me and I want to like give them an idea or like ask them something, and reminding myself I can be just here. Don't think about the 5 questions down the road you're gonna ask. Don't go in what they said 10 minutes ago, and just listen, just be here, be present. And the 5 minutes meditation in the morning, or 10 in my case, help me do that in my work. So I highly recommend you to start small with 5 minutes, keep it to 10. I don't think as an ADHD you can really go full time 30 minutes. I've never achieved it, but you can try. My point is though, just give yourself opportunity to learn that skill, and then you can use it and it's gonna make a difference. 7 is take breaks. All right, so first of all, no brain, ADHD or not, can focus for 8 hours straight. Okay, but for ADHD people, it's extremely important to take breaks, and when you take breaks, to have rewards. For example, you can use the Pomodoro technique. I'm gonna leave a link in the description to the Pomodoro timer. You can try this one. I don't. I just have this contract with myself. 2 hours of work and then a break. Or this task, work on it until you complete it, and then whatever the reward is. And it's very important, again, for that relationship you're building, to always give yourself the reward, but also keep the reward kind of like fair, because you don't want to work for 1 hour and give yourself the whole day off after this. This is not very fair, you know. Just be realistic about it, but be also consistent. Do not, for example, work for 2 hours and be like, hey, I knew I was supposed to like be on my phone for 20 minutes now, but I'm kind of like preferring to push through for another hour here. This is actually going to destroy the trust you're building in yourself, because you really want to keep your promises to your brain. You set 2 hours, give yourself the reward, and then you can go back to work afterwards. Number 8 is one of my favorite things, visual reminders. Okay, so when your brain is a mess all the time and there are thousands of thoughts all the time and it's just complete chaos, and you know how that feels, having something in front of you that you can almost like feel like a schedule that is not just visual but it's with colors, or it's time block 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. Having this in front of you reduces the ambiguity and reduces the chaos, because you can actually objectively see exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and that brings some sense of peace and calm. I cannot have time blocks for the entire day, but having the first 3 hours of my day, for example, time block, helps me so much that I can after that continue to be much better about my day and with my mood and with myself, just because I had those 3 hours structured. Or you don't have to have it exactly like one after another, but have like, for example, 3 or 4 things in your day that are always happening kind of at the same time and kind of every day. For example, you always walk the dog at 9. If you don't have a dog, you always exercise at 9 or do a meditation at 9. And there is something else that you always do at 12, something else you always do around 4 p.m. and something else you always do before you go to sleep. Having those always things and having them on your phone to like see it, remind you of it, and make it more objective and real helps. Number 9, take notes during meetings. I know that you have a bunch of ideas. Every time when there are a couple of people talking, everybody who says something kind of like gives you an insight about something else and you really want to share it. You don't want to interrupt though. So taking notes is how you work with your brain. Your brain will continue to give you tons of ideas all the time, but they're not all good, first of all. Second of all, you don't want to interrupt people all the time. So if you take notes, you are allowing your brain to be and, you know, like be crazy. So, you know, it might be a long list of thoughts, but at the end, you'll be able to also evaluate them. And when it is your turn to speak, you'll be able to give the best idea you have, which means you're gonna be also more efficient. And number 10 is count from 10 to 1 every time when you have a genius idea what else you should be doing right now. I have those aha moments all the time. Like I'm, for example, writing something and then I have a sudden idea. Oh my gosh, I should check this video about this, or I should go take a shower. Oh, I might need another coffee, or I need to eat something. Like something is popping up in my brain all the time, and usually something that requires me to get up or at least interrupt what I'm doing right now and start doing the other thing, which again, if it happens 100 times a day, it becomes very difficult to achieve or just get any task done, even if it's a small tedious task. So count from 10 to 1 so that you interrupt the impulse, you interrupt this let's go do, because this is gonna happen so quickly and you just telling yourself no is not enough. You actually have to like interrupt the brain and kind of engage it for a few seconds with the counting so it can calm down and reevaluate the genius idea, see that it's not so genius, and go back to what it was actually doing in the first place. That was it for today, guys. Once again, if you want me to talk more about dopamine and ADHD, leave me a comment. I know having an ADHD is not an easy thing, but so many of us are in this together, and even the people who don't have ADHD are so easily distracted because the world we live in is the way it is. So yes, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.